On today's episode, we're going to talk about how to not raise a bully. And I'm here with Dr. Denise, who is an amazing child psychiatrist, podcast host, and someone who has over 40,000 hours working with patients. That's a lot of hours. But she's also a mom and a wife, and so she has a wealth of experience around this topic. So Dr. Denise, how do we not raise a bully?
Well, first of all, I think we're living at a time where we're constantly hearing the word bully all the time. So I even like to reframe that. So how can we raise a kind child, teen, and also have accountability for our own actions? I really think we're living in a time where people are trying to get their messages out in 140 characters or less. They're doing Instagram, social chat, and I think one of the things we're forgetting is that picking up the phone, having a conversation with someone, meeting in person allows kinder communication. So I think one of the things we need to set for our children as a standard is how can we communicate in the kindest way possible? I think it's very important that people, before they hit send on their text message or on their email, that they realize that it could be misinterpreted. I think I've done this to Cam. When I want to have a more warm and caring message, I know people don't pick up their voicemails a lot these days. I do the audio message on the iPhone, and I leave people a very endearing message because I know that my tone of voice is very kind, and I let my son know that. In fact, my son's like, "Mommy, don't text them, let's call them on the phone." And so as a mom, I integrate that kind of idea that we need to really connect more. I think the other simple thing we can do is when we're out running errands with our children, when I'm at Target with my son, I have him say hello, make eye contact, and I really emphasize the importance of smiling. The minute we smile, people engage with us and they care, and we remember that we're all in this together. I also think with the current milieu environment in the world, there's so many negative and divisive comments happening. So what we can do as parents is when we're watching television or going through social media, we can integrate life lessons of like, oh, I really like the way that person was very kind, they're really nice, or whoa, are you kidding me? That person said that on social media, that is not okay. When my son was little, when he was in preschool, I used to say, what was going on? Did those moms and dads not just teach that lesson? So I did it in a kind way where I wasn't throwing someone under the bus. I admit there's times when I use the word rude, but what I try to do is use words like kind versus unkind. Those are more neutral words. So when we're giving our child a lesson, choose your words carefully. They eat it up. They're sponges. So I think eye contact, more verbal communication. And then I think the other thing when you say how not to raise a bully, it's really interesting, Cam. We all think of Darwin as, survival of the fittest, but one of his biggest messages that really went by the side is the importance of altruism and cooperation. And if we are raising children from a young age, that when one individual thrives, that we all thrive, we're instilling that sense of humanitarian values, that we're all one humanity. If our child has that kind of thought process consistently spoken to at home and in schools, they're going to be less likely to have unkind communication or get to the point where they might turn into the name I shall not name, bully.
And I think what you also want to think about is how do you instill a desire for them to step into leadership in all its forms. And when I work with members of our community who are younger, under 18, a big thing that I really focus on is, look, you're in high school and you have this incredible opportunity to be a leader, because in high school there are generally very few teenagers really stepping out to really take initiative. And you have that opportunity to be that person where you can be friendly and meet someone new every single day in class. And you see someone off kind of on their own, and you can actually take initiative to go and meet them, and if they want to be a part of the group, to include them and allow them to be a part of the experience, instead of in high school it's very much built on social status, and so everyone wants to be in the cool group of kids, and that means that if there's a cool group of kids, then everyone else who's not outside of that is not someone you want to associate with. And I was someone who was bullied a lot in that cool group of kids. And so looking back, what I wish I did was I wish that I met more people and I was more friendly with everyone and just kind of became friends with a lot of people at school, and was that difference in someone who was actually a leader, someone who was more friendly, someone who was making a bigger difference for everyone and creating an amazing kind of environment at school, instead of, you know, coming from a place of ego, which is really just kind of trying to come from a place of masking insecurity, which is where bullying really comes from, and instead to be someone who can make a positive impact.
You know, I like what you said. I think it's also really important that children who are struggling academically, struggling emotionally, oftentimes lash out at others. So if they're having self-esteem issues, learning issues, that could be another reason why someone's unkind. So you really want to spend that quality time with your child so that they can open up to you. And this takes time, everyone. This is not something where a child's just going to say, I'm not doing well in school. They might be ashamed of it. So we have to remember that there's all different reasons for kids to lash out. And sometimes the child who is quote unquote pegged as the bully, there might be domestic violence going on in their home. They might see that one of the parents isn't treating the other parent nicely. So remember to have compassion, because what happens as parents is we do the same thing. These innocent children that are 8 or 9 years old on the playground that might have called someone dumb or stupid, they're just being kids sometimes, and we don't want to, in our minds, tag them like that's the bully child. We want to have compassion, we want to have love, and we want to teach our children to be flexible and accepting and caring. And that's part of emotional resiliency as well.
Teach them to be the change that they want to see in the world. If you want to learn more about Dr. Denise, you can go to drdenisemd.com. The Dr. Denise Show is available on iTunes. We have a podcast episode that will be linked below. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. We'd love to support you. And did I leave anything out?
I think that's great. I'm just having a lot of fun with Cam here. I'm really grateful to be here doing this. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.